William Ruto is in panic after the former Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i sends him a thorough warning. Welcome to Kenya Lens Media, where we give you news updates the way they break. And kindly, if you are new here, consider subscribing to our YouTube channel and help us grow. Now, the former Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i has called for equal and impartial enforcement of law after violence erupted at Witima Anglican Church of Kenya in Othaya, Nyeri County during Sunday service attended by the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. In a strongly worded statement, Matiang'i urged authorities to ensure justice is applied without political bias, warning that selective law enforcement erodes public trust in Kenya's democratic system. The confrontation has intensified national debate over political tensions, public safety, and the role of law enforcement in politically charged environments. Matiang'i said he was relieved that Gachagua was safe after the incident, but stressed that the law must protect all citizens equally, including government officials and opposition figures alike. He insisted that violations of fundamental rights such as freedom of worship and assembly cannot be tolerated regardless of the political backdrop. The disruption unfolded on Sunday morning at Witima ACK Church in Othaya, where congregants were holding a scheduled service that included Gachagua and other political figures. According to police reports, an unidentified person threw a tear gas canister into the church compound at around 11 a.m., forcing worshippers to flee the sanctuary amid panic and confusion. Vehicles parked inside the church grounds were also reported damaged during the melee. Eyewitness accounts and video footage circulating on social media shows clouds of tear gas filling the air, with some reports alleging that live bullets were fired as chaos across among congregants, including women and children. In shared clips, terrified worshippers hurriedly sought cover and tried to escape the smoke and noise. Gachagua later confirmed on his social media account that he had been evacuated safely to his Waminyoro residence with the help of the local residents and his private security detail. He urged supporters present in the area to disperse peacefully, noting that their vehicles had been disabled and the sound system dismantled. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen condemned the violence, describing it as deeply troubling and unacceptable, especially in a place of worship. Murkomen said he has spoken with the Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja, who assured him that the National Police Service (NPS) was treating the matter with urgency. IG Kanja directed the Internal Affairs Unit (IAU) to lead investigations in the origins of circumstances of the tear gas attack, with the police reaffirming their commitment to safeguarding Kenyans and protecting constitutional freedoms, including freedom of worship. NPS spokesperson Michael Mushiri said that the police urgently secured the scene and commenced the formal inquiries. Officials have appealed to members of the public who witnessed the incident to support investigations by reporting relevant information through police hotlines. Authorities stated that no injuries had been reported at the time of the official update, but emphasized that violence of any form has no place in the country. The incident has drawn widespread criticism from political leaders across the spectrum, who view the church disruption as violation of constitutional rights and affront to democratic norms. Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka condemned the attack, stressing that no political ambition or rivalry can ever justify terrorizing citizens or attacking a place of worship. He held the Inspector General and authorities fully accountable for the safety of all inside the church, including Gachagua, and called for respect for the rule of law. Meanwhile, Deputy President Kithure Kindiki underscored the need for an impartial, non-politicized investigation. Kindiki warned that only a transparent probe followed by successful prosecutions could prevent such incidents from supplanting democratic debate and entrenching violence as a tool of political contestation. Kenya's political environment has become increasingly polarized as the country prepares for the 2027 general elections. Recent months have seen rising tensions between supporters of different political factions, with reports of confrontations at public gatherings, rallies, and community events. The Othaya Church incident represents one of the most dramatic disruptions in this pattern, particularly because it involved a place of worship. A space traditionally viewed as a sacrosanct and protected under the Constitution of law. The deployment of tear gas and potential use of live ammunition at religious service has heightened concerns about civil society groups and religious organizations. They argue that the use of force in such contexts undermines citizens' confidence in neutrality and professionalism of security institutions, which are expected to protect public safety without political influence. Public dialogue now increasingly focuses on how law enforcement agencies balance security operations with respect for rights to peaceful assembly and worship. Kenya's constitution guarantees fundamental freedoms, including freedom of worship, assembly, and movement, and any action seen to infringe on these rights, particularly through disproportionate use of force, can have serious legal and democratic ramifications. Scholars and legal analysts note that impartial enforcement of the law is essential to maintaining public trust in key democratic institutions, including the judiciary, the police, and the electoral bodies. When citizens perceive selective application of the law based on political affiliation or position, confidence in governance structures can erode rapidly, with dire consequences for national stability. In the past years, Kenya has faced scrutiny over how public order laws are applied during political protests and gatherings. Human rights organizations such as Amnesty International and the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights have repeatedly called for restraint and adherence to constitutional protections whenever the state power is exercised. While specific details from international reports on the Othaya incident are still emerging, the broader legal framework at stake remains a point of reference in public discussions. The Witima ASK Church disruption has resonated across Kenya because it touches on core democratic principles: equal protection under the law, the right to peaceful worship and assembly, and the impartiality of state institutions. When churchgoers, including the elderly and children, are caught in political violence, the social contract between the state and citizens is challenged. The perception that political violence can occur in places of worship raises profound questions about the integrity of public spaces and governance systems. Matiang'i's call for unbiased enforcement shines a spotlight on the broader need of Kenya's leadership and institutions to uphold constitutional values, not selectively but consistently, as the nation moves closer to another electoral cycle. How authorities respond to this incident will signal whether Kenya can reconcile political competition with respect for human rights and the rule of law. That is all for today from Kenya Lens Media, where you get these news updates the way they break. We don't change or favor any side, so kindly, if you're new here, consider subscribing as a way of helping this platform grow.